This is the story of Joshua, Wooly, and the greatest gift of all. As you know, Joshua and Wooly are now at puppet school. Joshua is in year 2. Yes, and he wants to tell you that he's learning to play the recorder. And he's doing well because he remembers to practice. Wooly is in year 1. Yes, he wants me to tell you that he loves trampolining. There you go. Or even trampolining. And he's actually very good at trampolining. So, yes, he is. Anyway, one day, Joshua and Wooly were outside the classroom when they saw a notice on the notice board. Well, I say they did. Wooly didn't, because he was covered in glitter. He had been making a Christmas card in his class, and he thought he looked quite splendid in the glitter and was admiring himself in the reflection of the window. Joshua, on the other hand, had noticed that there was something about the school puppet nativity play. The problem was, he was too small to read the notice. He kept trying to jump up, read a little bit, and jump back down again. Got a little bit more, said, "Oh no." He said, "Wooly." And Wooly go, What? Said, "Wooly, I need you to help me. Why don't we? I need to read the notice." So Wooly said, "I have an idea," and jumped immediately onto Joshua's shoulders. Joshua said, "Well, wasn't quite what I was thinking, but read what it says up there." He said, it says something. Wooly, said Joshua, "you can't read properly yet, can you?" "Yes, I can," said Wooly, not wanting to get embarrassed. "Just not these words." "Right, okay then," said Joshua. "Why don't we swap places?" So Joshua jumped on top of Wooly, and he could read what it said. It said, "There's going to be a puppet show nativity play, and the auditions are tomorrow. And we can come in costume for the auditions." Well, they both went home very excited and told me all about it. I said, "Well, we better make sure we know the story of the baby Jesus, haven't we? Of how the shepherds came to see him, and the wise men came to see him, about the donkey and Mary and Joseph and being in the stable with the animals." So I told them the story, and then I said, "Now I've got to go and say some prayers." So they were left alone in the room, and they noticed a box in the corner that said "Nativity dressing up outfits." Wooly looked at Joshua. Joshua looked at Wooly. They looked at each other. They thought, "He'll never know. Let's try some of the outfits on." Well, there was chaos. At one stage, they were both dressed as angels. At one stage, Wooly was dressed as half a shepherd and half a king. Joshua said, "Oh, look, I'll dress him as an innkeeper." Because Father Chris is going to tell us, as he does every year, he was an innkeeper when he was in his school nativity play. And they both fell about laughing. Ha, 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 ha. So they tried all the different outfits on. And then Wooly noticed something and had a think. He thought, "I have an idea." Just at the same time, Joshua noticed something. I have an idea. But they thought, we're not going to tell. "Joshua," said Wooly, "what are you going to come as tomorrow?" Wooly said, "Joshua, I'll surprise you." And Joshua said to Wooly, "What are you coming as?" I said, "Oh, I'll surprise you." So they went to bed very excited. And then the next morning it was time for the audition. So they were both sat outside the school hall with their costumes in their school bags as a secret. However, the head teacher, Mrs. Pinocchio, came out and said, "Okay, now, everybody needs to put their costume on for the audition." They looked at each other. First of all, Joshua got his costume out and he put on his hat. And Wooly said, "What on earth are you going to come as?" He said, "Well, I'm thinking of coming as the baby Jesus. But the nearest thing I could find to a baby hat in Father Chris's dressing up boxes was a minion hat." "Well, you're going to try and audition for the baby Jesus," said Wooly. "I'm not so sure." "Anyway," said Joshua. What are you going to come as? Well, he said, and he reached into his school bag and got out this rather splendid hat. And he said, well, I think I want to be the star. But you're a sheep, said Joshua. I know, said Wooly, but I want to be the star. Oh, well, needless to say that the auditions did not go as planned. Joshua decided he would stand right at the other end of the hole, so he looked very small, like a baby. Don't know what he was thinking, but he thought that. But anyway, he was so far back they couldn't hear what he said. Wooly took the trampoline with him into the hole and wanted to show them how he could be a shooting star and disappeared out the window. So neither of them got a part. They were a bit fed up. Anyway, I said to them, well, we're still coming to the show. We must support our friends. So on the night of the show, we were sat there and we supported their friends, and then we helped tidy up. And then there was just us left, and I said, I just need to go and speak to your head teacher, Mrs. Pinocchio, about coming into school tomorrow. So you just wait there and say some prayers in front of the nativity, in front of the crib. When they were sat there, Wooly looked at Joshua and said, that star has just glowed. Joshua said, are you sure? He said, yeah, look, it just... I said, oh yeah, it has, goodness me. And then suddenly, all the characters in the nativity came to life. And the donkey came over and talked to them. First of all, the donkey said, Wooly, why are you dressed as a star? You're a sheep. He said, well, I wanted to be the star. He said, no. You come and help us. You're going to be part of the central heating to keep Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus warm. That's your important job. Ah, said Wooly. So he took off the star hat, because he thought he didn't need that. He could just be himself. And he went and looked after the baby Jesus. Joshua then looked round and the donkey was staring back at him. He said, why are you wearing a minion hat? Joshua said, well, I wanted to be the baby Jesus, to be at the centre of it. I said, no, you're too big anyway, and that's not what it's about. He said, hang on, said the donkey. I will ask Mary, our lady, if there's a special job that you can do. So the donkey went over and whispered into Mary's ear, and she whispered back, and he came and said, oh, you've got a very special job. He said, you are going to give the very best gift to everybody. Oh, I'm going to get the very best present. He said, well, that must be that when the kings arrived, but the kings were nowhere to be seen. Oh, thought Joshua, what can be the greatest present? And the donkey coughed and said, the greatest gift ever given to us? What would Father Chris say? I said, And they realised then that the greatest gift of all was the baby Jesus. And Mary gave Joshua the baby Jesus. I said, now your job is to tell everybody about this most precious gift to all of the children. Because this gift of the baby Jesus tells us how much God loves us, how he wants us to be happy, how he wants us to live, how he wants us to look after each other and to know about him and say our prayers. So Joshua, you have a very important job. And that's what he's doing now, telling all of you. So, let's remember the story of Wooly, Joshua, and the greatest gift of all. And know that we all have a part to play. We don't need to be the star or the centre of it all. We all have a part to play in telling this story of how much God loves us all. Right, well, I think it's time for us now to say a few prayers. Bye-bye, God bless.